DuckTalks is part of Res TV's network of podcasts. Check out res.tv for other great podcasts. It's the week of Monday, September 30th, and you're listening to episode 81 of DuckTalks. Yeah, we're still in a hiatus, but that's okay. We're not going to dwell on that this week at all because we still have new episodes of DuckTales for us to review. Well, new for us to review. You guys have already seen them, but that's the fun. We're talking about the episodes you've already seen. You don't have to worry about spoilers. But this week, we've got a ton of news, and we've got some Duck merch to talk about. Thanks for checking out Duck Talks. If this is your first episode, we appreciate you giving us a listen. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcatcher so that you can catch our latest episode. And if this is not your first episode, thanks for returning. My name's Mitch. I'm one of your hosts. Joining me again this week, my pals, Pirate Steven and Josh.
Ahoy there.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Peachy. Just peachy.
I know we don't have any DuckTales like new episodes to talk about, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff going on in the duck world this October. So I'm looking forward to this show.
When I was putting these notes together, I was really surprised as it just kept piling up. I was like, this is like a two-parter episode, but we're going to try to condense it into a regular size episode. So we accidentally took a 1-week break last week. Wasn't intentional, wasn't planned, just kind of couldn't get our schedules together after I messed this up. So we've got a few items in the news that we're going to cover that may have actually broke last week, but we still want to talk about them. The first item in that pile of news is the Darkwing Duck series is now available on iTunes, and this was a big deal when it first broke. Started seeing it early in the morning. I think it was on the 24th. People were excited because not only was Darkwing Duck available for the first time on iTunes, but they had the complete series available. I don't like saying it with the, but that's what's in the title. It's $39.99, and you get every single episode of Darkwing Duck except for Hot Spells.
So almost the entire complete series.
But it says the complete series. So maybe Hot Spells doesn't really exist. Maybe it's like an urban legend.
I don't know. We've heard a lot about it this week. We had that blog entry that picked up a lot of steam.
Is there any chance that it didn't happen? Maybe it's just something that's made up?
No, I've seen it.
I really haven't seen it. I've just read about it online. I don't remember it airing. I mean, I know it did.
We don't know if it's on Disney Plus, though, right?
Yeah, but, the timing of this release and everything, I would imagine this is exactly what will be on Disney Plus. And we'll be able to tell. There's one episode in particular, and I have it somewhere on my phone, but I'm not going to look for it. There's one episode that someone commented online about how bad the quality is on the episode. Like, there's a black faded frame around it, and then the frame rate really drops, and it's kind of jumpy. And it's a Gizmoduck episode. I'm going to look for that and see if it is exactly the same, and then we'll know that these are the same releases.
I saw somebody talking about this earlier today, and I guess that one episode that we were talking about, Hot Spells, is available on iTunes for people out of the U.S., but it's still not available for us. So it's out there, and it's just the U.S. people don't. I don't know, for whatever reason. We're not allowed to have it.
I don't think that was on iTunes. I think that they were saying that previous releases of the series included it.
For those that haven't read the blog, the controversy is, I guess, that Goslin makes a deal with the devil to go for her schooling. So, I guess other countries are okay with the devil, but I still don't see that there's any problem with it.
Yeah, Jason wrote up a nice blog about what happened in the episode and why it was kind of controversial for its time. It's really surprising that it would not show up on this complete list or this complete collection, but it's not there. The other 91 episodes, right? Maybe it's 90 episodes. So there's 90 episodes on the iTunes release. And so, yeah, everything but the one. It's pretty exciting, though. Have you guys struggled with this at all? Like, I'm seeing all these people sharing screenshots and stuff of Darkwing Duck episodes that I've not seen since childhood. $39.99. I mean, it's kind of tempting, but surely I can wait until November 12th for Disney Plus.
Yeah, I'm waiting, but you know what? We're going to have to own it all eventually, so you might as well buy it now, Mitch.
I mean, what's the chances we get a good sell on this down the road? I mean, I'm going to have access to it in like a month and a half.
Yeah, I'm waiting, but yeah, if you see a sale, let me know.
Oh, we will be letting everybody know once we see a sale.
It's kind of hard because I own some of these already on DVD, but then I'm like, but then there's the rest that I don't have, and it's just as much to buy the ones that I don't have as to buy the incomplete series. So I'm kind of torn on what I'm going to do for this.
I had the DVDs too, and my sad DVD stories. I rented a really crappy movie from Netflix, and I had to return it in the mail, and I grabbed the DVD from that was currently in the DVD player, and I put it in there. It ends up being Darkwing Duck Volume 1, Disc 1 that I send back. Yeah, and then
That's horrible.
Never got it back. So I might even, if they ever do one of those DVD collections like they did for Rescue Rangers and Goof Troop and DuckTales, I might even have to rebuy it just so I can get my Volume 1 disc back.
Well, looking at what was released previously on those DVDs, so those were first released in 2006, and Volume 2 was in 2007. I put a blog out about this when we first saw that the series was available. So those first two DVDs only had 27 episodes. So that means that we were left with 37 episodes that we hadn't seen. So if you buy this full series, you're not just getting another third. You're getting more. 10 more episodes. Of course, you can also go through and just buy the later volumes. I don't know what order these are all in. I've not looked at them, but it's $14.99 per volume. Maybe you get lucky and only need 2 and you can save $10. Just buy the complete series. That's a better value. But yeah, they're available. You can go to iTunes. They're also on Google's platform, which it escapes me what it's called. I do know Jason said he was waiting for it to show up on Amazon, and it's not there yet. But we'll make sure people know when it's on Amazon. Also in the news, a couple of comic book items. The first one's really happy. The second one's kind of sad. So we'll jump into the first one first. First one first. Anyway, new IDW DuckTales miniseries coming in December. And this will be called, drumroll please, only because I'm looking for it, Fairs and Scares. Now, we knew this was going to happen. This miniseries is not a surprise. We knew when DuckTales, the comic from IDW, returned from its hiatus, it was going to be released in miniseries for the remainder of the year. So, Silence and Science was the first miniseries. We're waiting on issue 2 to come out, and then it'll also get a third issue after that. Fairs and Scares begins, and that will be released in December, the first issue. So I don't know if that's going to I don't know if they're trying for all 3 of those to come out in December. I guess not. There was only one on the solicitations. That's how that works with comics. So I guess we're going miniseries on into the first of the year.
Yeah, and Amazon has if you're a trade paperback kind of person, I am sometimes, the Science and Silence, or Silence and Science, I don't know which, I probably have it backwards.
You got it right one of those times.
The trade paper, yeah, the odds were in my favor. The trade paperback for that, it was releasing in June, so that's a while from now.
Mm-hmm.
But
do you think they're gonna
include all three of them?
Do you think they're gonna start doing just miniseries from here on out, or they're gonna pick up where they left off on the original comics?
My money's on the miniseries for a while.
Yeah, I agree too, because they got through 20 issues of the regular series, and I feel like saying we're on issue 21, 22, it's hard for people to pick up an issue, I feel like, that high of a number and think they missed something. So they might just do the mini series so people could just buy that and catch up with everything.
And
yeah, that makes more sense.
And judging by what we've seen so far on the solicitations for Silence and Science, these are loosely connected. They're not really connected. They're just 3 issues put together, and the titles are what's connecting them. It's not like a storyline. At least Silence and Science doesn't have a storyline running through the 3 issues. It's pretty much everything is normal. Everything's the same as previously. They just want the opportunity, like Pirate said, to renumber and allow to be more appealing to new readers. And also for collectors who want every issue 1. With their 3 variant covers. That's how comics work. Now for that sad story. You guys know that when we first broke the news about Disney Afternoon Giant, we were extremely excited. When we first saw it listed on for IDW's publication, we didn't know what it was. We were really excited. The description only told us that it was going to be continuing stories about the Disney Afternoon, and our minds just started reeling with all the potential of Tailspin stories and new Darkwing Duck stories and DuckTales stories, all the shows from the 80s and 90s, I guess mostly 90s, all of those Disney Afternoon shows continuing on in comic form. We were on board, but we very quickly learned that it was actually going to be reprinting the Kaboom series. Boom Studios. Whatever it's called. I've never really figured out. It was Kaboom, but the publishing arm was Boom Studios or something like that. Anyway, someone can correct me on that. They produced a line of Disney comics back in the early 2000s, mid-2000s, and they were pretty popular. As a matter of fact, a Disney Afternoon historian who wrote a book told us that he credits them with the resurgence of the Disney Afternoon, of bringing it back to the forefront of everybody's mind and maybe creating the nostalgia behind it, reminding people that it existed. And these books were amazing. A lot of them were really good. The Rescue Rangers books in particular, I've always read fond reviews of them. And then the Darkwing Duck series was phenomenal. These were we were still excited about these being reprinted because those collections were fairly expensive. Boom Studios ended up losing the license in the midst of a storyline that they were doing that had a crossover between DuckTales and Darkwing Duck, and it sounded amazing, and it was something that we figured they would not print because Boom published it without getting approval from Disney, so didn't figure it would be reprinted, but we still hoped so. All of those hopes now have just been destroyed because as of issue 8, Disney Afternoon Giant has been canceled. So issue number 8 will conclude the storyline for Darkwing Duck, The Duck Knight Returns, and it will also conclude the Rescue Rangers story, Slipping Through the Cracks. And that's it for the Disney Afternoon Giant. No idea how it did or if it may spark some future series. That was always kind of my hope, that it would do well enough that IDW would hire some people to produce new content under the same title.
It made me want to try to search for the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers trade paperbacks that Kaboom did.
That story. Now, I had read The Duck Knight Returns. It's one of my favorites, so I wasn't collecting this for that because I own the Definitively Dangerous edition, and I prefer that one. But the Rescue Ranger stories were really fun, and the artwork very on character and yet expressive. I really, really enjoy these. There's been Rescue Ranger stories in all 8 issues, or all 6 so far, 7 releases soon, and then 8 releases in December. But yeah, these have been really great. Those Rescue Ranger stories are phenomenal. Or they're fun. I don't know that they're not groundbreaking, but they're fun. I mean, I don't want to oversell it, right? I mean, they're fun stories. They don't, we don't learn that Dale's got a tragic backstory. Oh, actually, you do. Never mind. Maybe it is groundbreaking. Maybe I should sit down and read these together. Moving on to Duck merch. It's sad, though, that's ending. I was looking forward to it continuing in some form. Maybe IDW has something planned for it. So the real reason, and I'm sure the title of this episode will have something to do with this bit of news, but in Duck merch, we're going to talk about PhatMojo. I know you all have been waiting to hear from us about PhatMojo. We've been able to break a couple of stories recently about PhatMojo's Wave 2 release. You guys know, if you've been following the podcast, we've had a really good relationship with PhatMojo. They've been, they had been great about giving us information and helping us share it and spread it with our listeners and followers so that everybody could be ready for, the new toys. And of course, the Target rollout didn't go smoothly, but really, how many toy rollouts really do go smoothly? Every time I see something online about a toy rollout, it never looks like it's gone smoothly. Except for maybe Funko. I think they do a pretty good job. Anyway, I think PhatMojo did a pretty good job, and they really liked the fact that so many of you purchased their products, and so when we reached out to them again and said, "Hey, what's going on with Wave 2?" They got back with us and said, "Okay, here's what's up. Here's what we can tell people."
Yeah, so PhatMojo, I guess their plans for the holiday season is to do a limited release, and I guess what they think is going to be their best opportunity to make a lot of sales would definitely be the Gizmoduck 2-pack that they had on display at Toy Fair all the way back in February. There was a image that we saw on their website that had a awesome Gizmoduck suit, and right next to it was Fenton. So there you go, 2 for price of 1. And well, not price of 1. I'm sure it's a double the price. But
we don't know a price tag yet, but we're expecting it to be more than a figure.
We don't have an official released picture of this, so I don't know if you're going to be able to take Fenton and put him in the Gizmoduck suit, or if it's just 2 figures individually or something. It looks like you can customize it because they have a couple of different pieces you can put on Gizmo. But I think it's a great piece. This is definitely one of my top ones from what I saw from Toy Fair. I know there's a Darkwing Duck somewhere hidden in there, but hopefully, and the deal is, if they sell and they can show numbers to like a Target or Shop Disney or Walmart, Walgreens, whoever, all the retailers out there, if they can see that this is a popular holiday item, they might be able to get the rest of the line pushed out there, which is everybody that wants their Magica and Lena, like I do. All these popular sets that they've made, and if we want to continue to have a Wave 2, Wave 3, we got to put our money where our mouth is and get Gizmoduck, which we were going to do anyway. But I can't wait for this to be released, and we're going to let everybody know as soon as we get more information on it. What do you think? Y'all going to buy these Gizmoduck, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, the one image that we have in the blog that we put out last week, and that Fenton could fit in that figure. I think you're right. It's a possibility. But it's pretty awesome looking. I see lots of accessories like pies and stuff, very show accurate.
Yeah, and it looks like it's a nice size.
Yeah,
the Gizmoduck suit, and I mean, I hope they're two separate things because I think for displayability, just to be able to add Fenton with the rest of the characters, and then maybe you can always have that Gizmoduck one in there as well. I mean, from that picture, it kind of looks like he's the same size of the Sun Chaser.
Yeah, it does because that figure is pretty tiny.
He'll be the same size as the Money Bin too that was released. But I could not be more excited, and I'm glad we finally get more official information from the source that at least this is going to happen. So I feel like it will be a good sell, and they'll be able to move forward with everything else.
Yeah, I think it was a good choice. I mean, of course we want that Della with the Spear of Selene, and of course we want Magica and Beagle Boys and all these other figures that we've been wanting. But right now the line, basically where we're at, is the line needs a retailer to pick it up. And in order to try and get that, I think they called it critical interest from the retailers, they are going to try and move this figure. I'd say this figure's already been... This is one of the few figures in those pictures, because we talked about this. In that picture, most of the packaging had paper, like cutouts of the figures. The figures weren't actually in there. The Gizmoduck was made, and you can see it in the box. It's an actual figure. And we did check with PhatMojo when we put out word that the Gizmoduck figure was coming, and we double-checked, does it include the Fenton action figure as well? And they confirmed that it would. So it does come with both characters, and that's super exciting, and supposed to be out for the holiday season. So we will let you know as soon as we know when and where. But I expect to have 2 or 3 of those under a Christmas tree this year.
2 or 3.
Well, 1 for me and 2 for the girls.
I'm super excited about it too. I'm definitely is one of the things that I'm gonna buy as soon as it comes out, especially since it's limited release. It's gonna go quick.
We got a couple of other items in Duck merch to move on to. We'll keep everyone posted on the PhatMojo figure. Young Donald Duck book is now coming in November. It was originally scheduled for October, I believe, but now it's moved to November. Is that correct, Pirate?
Yeah, it's going to be November for this one, and I put out a lot of blogs on comics and books that are coming out, and nothing has been more popular than this Young Donald Duck book and the designs of high school Mickey and Minnie and Daisy and Goofy and Donald, of course. So I feel like this is going to be a popular pickup, and it's by IDW.
Yeah, they changed the cover. We're not sure if this is like a alternate cover or if it's just the new cover, but it includes Minnie and Daisy on there as well, and I think that's a good call. All the character designs look very fun. This is a reprint of a story that's already been out there, maybe overseas, though, I think. Have you read that?
I have not, but one of our listeners, RZ, reminds us of it every day.
Oh, that's true. That's one of the first places where I saw that. So very cool. Oh, while we're talking about this, I'm going to bring this up because by the time I get this episode out, we will be past the embargo on issue 49 of Uncle Scrooge. And there is a panel on page 10 of Uncle Scrooge number 49 that has Donald and Feathery looking at places to put the money bin, because the money bin has to be moved for reasons that I won't spoil. But they're looking for places around Duckburg where they can move it. And they come across a very familiar looking spot in the middle of the water on a rocky island with a very distinct bridge going to it. And Donald makes the comment that he thinks it's roomier, that those cliffs would be roomier, and Feathery says, let's be sensible. Who would put a money bin over there? And I'm telling you, it is absolutely either a call out to DuckTales 2017 or DuckTales 2017 saw this. I doubt it's that way. I doubt that DuckTales 2017 is placed their bin based on this issue. This issue was released late November of 2017, originally in Italy. So I'm wondering if they got a hold of some of the concept art for DuckTales 2017 and put this gag in there. I'm waiting until the issue comes out to reach out and see what Frank says about it. But it's hilarious. I sent you guys a description of it so that you knew what was going on, but it just stopped me. I haven't moved another page off this comic as I was reading it because it just jumped out at me. Oh, come on. It's not fun unless you guys agree.
Agreed.
Sorry, the baby's been forgiven.
All right, moving on, though, since you're not going to indulge me. May have to cut that out. So another book that is being released this month is this next month? Coming November, okay. Another book that's being released soon is, and we just found this. Pirate, you found this.
Yeah, one of my Amazon searches, I found a Where's Donald book, which is kind of like the Where's Waldo Look and Find books that I know I remember from going to like the doctors or dentist, and there'd just be a pile of Where's Waldo books that keep you busy while you're waiting. But it's one of those extensive look and finds where there's so much going on in the pictures, and you have to find, in this case, Donald instead of Waldo. But there looks like whoever did this is for a celebration of Donald's 85th anniversary, and just from looking at the book cover and some of the sample pages, they put a lot of effort into this because there's so many Easter eggs with Duckburg and all the characters in that universe that I think a lot adults and kids are going to be super into this book to see what is to look and find all these characters, not just Donald, but Panchito and Jose and all these Scrooge McDuck, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Gyro, all of them are in this book. So definitely check this out when it comes. We'll have a review once we get our hands on it.
Yeah, this is the kind of book I love. I love looking through these things and finding all the hidden things. I have all the Where's Waldo books, and I have some Star Wars books like this, and a few other books that I just love looking at and finding the hidden things. So this is definitely going to be one that I pick up for sure.
Yeah, we did a lot of these with the Disney books. Disney's done these in the past with different franchises, and we've had a few of these, and they're always fun to go through. I think this one will be fun because of all the connection with all the Duck characters and all the history. I mean, just rich history. I'm expecting this to have a lot of callbacks to stories that we know from the comics and from maybe movies and cartoons. So should be a lot of fun. Available November 27th, I believe. I thought I saw that somewhere. Let me try that again. Available in November.
I think it's November 5th, and then I think Young Donald might be late November.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it for the news. You can follow DuckTalks.com to keep up with all the latest Duck news, and also be sure and follow us over on Twitter at DuckTalks. We share things as we find them. Sometimes we just come across something, we go ahead and throw it up on Twitter, and then later that day we'll have a blog, or maybe that week, and we'll go into a little more detail. But follow those two places to stay up to date with what we're finding. And yeah, let's take a look at this episode. Same rules as normal, except that I don't have the randomizer up.
Can I choose a 2.5? Is that one of the options?
Sure, that means that if it's 2 or 3, it's you.
Oh, okay, well, then I'll go for the 3.
So did you say 2?
Steve is 2. I'm
Steve
3.
is 2. You're 3, and I'm
Yeah,
1.
that's usually.
So is that
usually.
we're just going to take those numbers moving forward?
Sure.
Huh? All right.
I'm number 2.
All right, let's hit that button, and it is 3.
Oh, wah. Okay.
All right, Josh, I've got my timer almost open. No, I'm just kidding. It's up. Seriously, my stopwatch is already there. I got it. All right, you say go, and I'll hit the button.
How about you go when I start talking?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Huey, Dewey, and Louie and Webby are at the fort of Cornelius Coot. Coot, can't talk. Webby wants to find the secret golden armory, so they go down a mine shaft and start searching. Big ol' boys are trying to find the armory as well. Big Time gets kicked out, and he decides to follow them to try to get back into the game. In the meanwhile, Della and Launchpad are learning to fly, or Della is teaching Launchpad to fly, and they crash and run right into the kids, who find a bunch of corn, which ends up being Cornelius Cute's golden armory. And then Webby decides to pop some popcorn, and that's it.
And they saved the day. 45 seconds. 45.
Oh gosh. Shit.
Yeah, we're out of practice on these.
I am out of practice.
Well, I mean, we went forever without episodes. It's not our fault.
Yeah.
So this episode was written by Christian Magales, Bob Snow. It was directed by Matthew Humphreys. Storyboards by Stephanie Gonzaga, Von Tada, and Brandon Warren. And the title was The Golden Armory of Cornelius Coot. I thought this was a fun episode. I know I've seen some people talking about the episodes and said that maybe this one wasn't their favorite one, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's because of those comic book connections, though. I really kind of nerded out when they mentioned that Della was the relative of Cornelius Coot, and they pointed out that the Duck family was related to the Coots, and that I thought it was great that the show actually spent some time on that, because, you know, that's part of the history of the characters. It does kind of raise some questions, though, because we know Donald raised the triplets on his own. At least I feel like that was said in the show. But if that's the case, that means Grandma Duck and like Gus Goose aren't around. Do you guys think, and I know I didn't ask you this ahead of time, so we've not looked at it. Do you guys think there's any room for the fact that the Duck family and the Coots, well, I guess not the Coots, the Duck family could be in Duckburg and we're still around while Donald was raising the boys?
Wait, what was the question again?
Sure, why not?
All right. Did you get that, Pirate? Can you maybe answer and then, or do I need to try it again?
No, I think Gus could definitely be in that somewhere in there, and in the Coots. That's pretty much just repeating what you said.
But is it okay? So in the Duck family tree, it shows Cornelius Coot as one of their family members.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at it because it's hanging right here in Lexi's bedroom.
And it has him related to more closer to Gladstone than any of them, though.
Yeah, so what I was trying to ask was, did Donald raise the boys with the Duck family? Like, was Grandma Duck and Gus Goose around while the boys were being raised? Or does DuckTales 2017, does the story that we know so far, did they kind of push really hard that Donald raised them on his own without any help? All right, moving on.
It shows that he raised them on his own without any help.
Yeah. That's just one thing that this episode made me question. So I don't think we have an answer. I think it could happen. I think they could still be around, and maybe they were just too busy. Maybe we find out that there was a reason why they weren't able to. But I love the connection. I love that it was there. I thought this was a fun episode. I'm not afraid of spiders, so it didn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
As you guys know, there was an episode of the podcast where I had a giant spider crawl underneath my chair, and I had to get up and kill it. Not that I condone killing spiders.
No spiders were actually harmed in the making of this podcast.
Not this one, anyway.
Yeah, maybe one of the other ones.
I liked how he changed his name to Bug Time Beagle.
Yeah, he thought that was such a great idea.
He was like commanding the spiders too.
So we were talking earlier, they had some comic connections. So everything is not 100% to the comic books. Because in this episode, they said Cornelius Coot scared off the Beagle Boys from attacking Fort Duckburg. There was a Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck chapter from Don Rosa where Scrooge buys Fort Duckburg and he's moving in, and the Beagle Boys try to take it over from him. So Cornelius wasn't there at that point. But then there's like a flashback story where Cornelius Coot is at Fort Duckburg, and he scares the Spaniards away with the popcorn sounds, like there were gunshots. So that part is more related towards this episode.
It's kind of a melding of the two stories, and it really works for DuckTales 2017. Because we know that in Life and Times, the money bin was built on Killmotor Hill, which is where Fort Duckburg was, and that's not the case in 2017. So it's kind of cool that they found a way to tell the story and to also have the money bin someplace else. Speaking of which issue of Life and Times had Bubba Duck as the ancestor for the McDucks?
Did I miss that part?
Yeah, no, that was a joke.
Yes. He's not in there.
That didn't happen, Frank. No, I thought it was fun. We'll get to that next week. Because we're not there yet. What'd you guys think about Webby's story here? I really like that she's trying to compete with someone.
Yeah, I think that helps develop her character a lot more.
Yeah, she really wants to be the adventurer. I think she really looks up to Della Duck, and so she was like, okay, well, at her point of life, at my age, she was doing all these different adventures and accomplishing all this stuff, and so she's kind of trying to compare herself by looking at her adventures and the adventures that she couldn't solve, and so this episode kind of follows. It finds out that she has the journal of Della Duck and that she couldn't solve the mystery of the golden armory, and so she's like, I have to do it to prove myself. And I don't know if she's trying to prove herself to Della or to Huey, Dewey, and Louie or just to herself, but it does have some kind of motivation for her to kind of accomplish this task, and it kind of disappoints her when she doesn't really find the armory. Well, she finds the armory, but it's not like what she expects. And it's kind of interesting on kind of her aspects. It was like, well, I did it, but it wasn't as much of an adventure as I thought it would be. And I think at the end, when she kind of talks to Della about like what she was trying to accomplish, that she kind of gets reassured that like, yeah, she is worth being that the adventurer with Huey, Dewey, and Louie and Uncle Scrooge and everybody. And it's just that some people just, I guess, to see these adventures in different ways, regardless if it's something that they get this big treasure around, or if it's something that's just kind of as simple as finding corn that turns to popcorn.
Yeah, I think it helped the character grow quite a bit. I also like how we saw Della learn a lesson. You know, she's sitting there and explaining to Webby about, you know, how you just got to do things your own way. You don't have to try and be somebody else, after she's spent the entire day rolling her eyes at Launchpad because he's not like her and he's better at crashing the plane than flying the plane.
Mm-hmm.
I like how, in some ways, these lessons that we get from DuckTales 2017 are absurd. Because Launchpad definitely needs to learn how to fly the plane and quit crashing it. But it just happened that they needed him to crash for things to work out. But, whatever.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think about that? I mean, a lot of the comedy of this episode came from that B story with Launchpad and Della.
And everything was held together by gum.
Well, he used to use super glue.
I like how the glue bottles were still like on his hands. Like, how long were those on there?
Right. Going back to the Beagles, that was one of the things, like, this whole storyline with Big Time being a loser. I really like the Beagles. Beagles are some of my favorite characters in the Duck universe, and I think that goes all the way back to my history with DuckTales 87. I mean, Big Time and Burger and Bouncer Beagle, those were just some of my favorite villains in that series. And I always, when I think of DuckTales 87, the episodes that first pop in my mind are mostly Beagle Boy episodes. And so when I started reading the comics, I really got into the comics. The Life and Times, includes some early Beagle stuff, and then of course they show back up later. And there's been some of my favorite stories include the Beagles. So when it came to this episode and we see that the Beagles have kind of written off Big Time, and I didn't like it initially. And I didn't like, because he's the leader, right? He's supposed to be the competent one. But from the very beginning, he's been very incompetent. I mean, even their very first appearance was him getting in trouble with Ma Beagle because he couldn't do anything right. And she just keeps commenting on it. And he even comments on, you say good things to the other boys, but to me, you're hard on me. Which, that's what you do to a leader. But in this episode, he kind of grew as a character to an extent. I mean, you see there at the end, he's pretty much won until the Cornelius Coot's Armory goes off accidentally and the popcorn starts to wash him away. But what does he do? He actually saves his family with this, nasty spider webs or whatever. So yeah, I think it was I didn't like it in the beginning, but I like where it went, and I'm hoping it's going to make him an even more formidable opponent or villain.
Or he's just going to have a bunch of big ideas that don't ever pan out.
That could be it. I mean, Big Time Beagle. He's the smallest one of the group. And
the other thing about this episode, well, not really about this episode, but if you go on Disney now, right now, you can watch up until this episode for free. They've unlocked up until the Cornelius Coot episode. So pretty soon they'll start getting to the second week from the bomb of episodes. But if you need to catch up, you can catch up all the way to the episode that we just discussed.
And that's without a subscription.
Correct.
Well, I think that's our review of the episode. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the ties to everything, so it is one of my favorites. I don't know how to rank any of these anymore. It's just too many great episodes to rank. Have you ranked it, Pirate? I know you had a going.
Oh yeah, it's in the top 24.
Okay, for, sure. For this season.
For this season 2.
Nice.
Top 24.
Well, eventually, when we get to our season 2 recap, I'll reveal the top 5, but ooh, I'm sure people could guess.
Oh, we've got to get to work on that, Josh. We got to have a top 5 ready.
Yeah, I've not started a top 5.
Yeah, I need to go. I need to sit down and do a full watch through, because it's going to be like last season when I get to the end and I go back and start going, oh yeah, this happened, and oh yeah, that episode. Same thing, I promise. And with all the hiatuses we had this time, because didn't we have like 3 hiatuses this season?
Yeah, that's why I asked the question on Twitter today to see if we're going to get any animated shorts between now and season 3, because I feel like there's so much lost potential not having anything Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of years ago we had the Haunted Mansion like claymation type. short with the boys and one of the ghosts from the Haunted Mansion, and then they had another short around Christmas time. That I feel like they should have something. I know most of the focus is going to be on Disney Plus in November.
Yeah.
So maybe they won't be having shorts or any theme song takeovers or anything like that. But it would still be nice to have something continuing to let people know about the show until season 3.
Yeah, DuckTales already got 2 theme song takeovers. That's like a record. They also did the PhatMojo ones. I think we talked about that a week or 2 ago.
Oh yeah, they were like the fails or something.
Yeah, Duck Fails. Yeah, those were fun. The girls still watch those. Well, speaking of social media, frankly speaking for this week is blank because Frankie Angones has been pretty quiet. He's not posted much at all in the last week or 2. And for us Duck fans, I think that's a good thing because that means they're hard at work on season 3. We know that they've had, the last time we heard an update on season 3, they had received the first animation back from the studio. So hopefully they're not hopefully, we know it. They're working hard to get these out because he even said, the way things are being released now with the whole binge strategy, they've got to have like 10 episodes ready to go before the first one will air. So it's quiet on that front, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Before we go, I think Pirate has a story for us. You got to do something this week that very few people in the world have gotten to do. It's
true. At Walt Disney World, I believe that's the world you're talking about. Disney Skyliner opened up this week. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go out there and check it out. Really fun way to get around the Walt Disney World property between a couple of the resorts and also Disney Hollywood Studios and Epcot. But I was lucky enough, I didn't even have to ask for it. The gondola vehicle that approached the loading area when I was there happened to be the Disney Ducks one, which had Donald Duck and Daisy on one side, and it had Scrooge McDuck on the other, and then Huey, Dewey, and Louie on the other side. So very fortunate to be in that one. Very cool design. I feel like the gondolas all look nice, but it was cool to be in this one. And it's the designs are from the new Mickey Mouse cartoon shorts, which now that I say that pops in my head that I wonder if these characters, I wonder if Scrooge McDuck and Huey, Dewey, and Louie might be in the new Mickey Mouse animated shorts ride that is opening up at Hollywood Studios next year.
That would be awesome. Now, all the Mickey and Friends are in that the shorts design, right? I know other characters are in different designs, but
yeah, they have a Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, and Chip and Dale one, and there's also one with Goofy and Clarabelle Cow and Horse Collar. So all the ones from all the main characters from those shorts are in there. Pete's on one of them as well.
I like the use of these character designs. I know I've been seeing it more and more on videos online on YouTube of them using that specific character design. I'm glad they went with it. I'm looking forward to seeing them more, and I hope they are at Hollywood Studios in that ride. That'll be a great part of that ride. Well, that's going to do it for this week. We will not have an episode next week. I'm actually going to take a little bit of vacation with the family, go visit Pirate in Orlando, and possibly spend a little bit of time on a planet in a galaxy far, far away, and trick-or-treating and stuff like that too. But so we'll take a week off, and when we come back, we'll take a look at Typhoon and the ancestry of Clan McDuck. Until then, be sure to check out DuckTalks.com for all of your DuckTales and Disney Afternooniverse news. Hey, I said it that time without stuttering. And you can also follow us on Twitter at DuckTalks. And if you want, You can follow us individually on Twitter. I am at Infinirama616.
And I'm at the Pirate Steven.
And you can find me at CCRunner524.
And, you should also be seeing an announcement about our YouTube channel having some added content.
Yeah, follow that channel too.
Make sure you follow that and that click the bell or something like that. I'm not a YouTuber yet.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next podcast, so what we're going to be doing for there. So,
all right. News to come.
News to come.
All right. Well, until next time.
Stay glom golden.
You can dream it. You can do it. Get it
Night.
down.
Good morning. See you later. Bye. Adios. DuckTalks is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds or audio clips played on this podcast are the property of their copyright holders.